Ethics and the Runaway Trolley by Michael Gonzalez. Runaway Trolley Car Dilemma. Now picture a runaway trolley car is hurtling down a track. In its path are 5 people who would definitely be killed unless you, a bystander, flip a switch will divert it onto another track where it would only kill 1 person. The question is, should you flip the switch? What should you do? What is the right thing to do? It's a huge decision to decide on who to save and what is the right way to go about this dilemma. Saving the lives of 5 people, or maybe just the 1 person for the right reason. Maybe you're connected to that person emotionally, maybe they're related to you. There's plenty of options and situations that can be thrown into this dilemma. Ethical standards, there's 5 I believe, but we're going to talk about the 2 biggest ones, the all-terrain approach, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, and the rights approach. The all-terrain approach, the approach that chooses the most good and least amount of harm, trying to cause as less tragedy as possible. This approach is a more popular choice in most cases. It tends to cause less damage and harm to the people being involved. Kind of good news, bad news. For example, me signing a contract to help 1 million people and leave a couple thousand without my help. I'd much rather help the 1 million because it would do more good than choosing to help the thousands, leaving the 1 million without any help. I mean, why choose 1,000 over 1 million? The result, more people get the help they need rather than taking a smaller group and having a lot more still in need. Just doesn't make sense. Now this approach, in this case, we look at all the outcomes of the situation, obviously trying to resolve the problem with as little damage as possible. The choice would be to pull the switch and save the 5 people, killing the 1 but saving 5. The decision and results. Now, the decision would be to save the 5 people, obviously, without question. Flip the switch, lose only 1 person. 5 people would be saved for the sacrifice of 1, resulting in less tragedy, doing more good than harm. Even though 1 person dies, it saves 5 more from dying. The second approach, the rights approach. The rights approach is one that best protects and respects more rights of those affected, more of a personal decision, rather than a decision that favors one direction, such as the all-terrain approach. For example, choosing to allow someone to make their own choices, even though you might not agree with the decision, like a young adult choosing to not go to college and instead decides to chase his dream of becoming an actor, giving that person the right to make their own decision. This approach will go through many of the same things as an all-terrain approach, but have more of an emotional connection. The decision, because it's theirs, it's their own choice, nothing influencing it from any outside sources. The decision and results. The result would be the 1 person flipping the switch because of all the people that would be saved, compared to just the 1 single individual that would die. The 2 approaches and how they are similar, but yet different. Similarities, they are alike because the result would end up the same. The 5 people in the trolley car would be spared for the 1 person that would die, the rest of them saving more tragedy from involving victims and from anything further happening. Having the same result is a huge similarity that saves more people. Differences, they are different because they are different thought processes. The first approach is a non-decision. The people would be saved, no questions asked, but the rights approach, the person flipping it has all the power and right to choose who will be saved and who will die. The all-terrain approach always chooses in favor of the less harm and most good, no matter what. The rights approach has a personal decision to make, even if it is not the popular choice. The person has a right to make it if that is what he or she believes is the way to go. the importance of having different ethical principles, because it gives a situation different viewpoints which can lead to different results that are either better or worse. So it's important to have different ethical principles. Having different viewpoints at the dilemma always gives you more of a variety of options to approach a life-threatening situation, giving you an advantage. In conclusion, in a decision, after looking at all the options and different results each brings to the table, the best approach is clearly the utilitarian approach. This approach takes into consideration all the consequences and chooses the least damaging pathway. This approach will still lead to someone losing their life, but in return many more lives will be spared as a result of their sacrifice.